Hello everyone, this is the first video of my channel, and in this video I want to share my story of why I left Islam. Firstly, I want to talk a little bit about myself. I'm from Bangladesh and I grew up in a Muslim family. I have been atheist for almost 7 years now. I wanted to engage in activism for a long time, but as you know, it is too risky in Bangladesh. However, I gathered all my courage and decided to talk about my experience and research. My channel will not only contain criticism of religions, but also Bangladesh in general. I want the people of my country to think critically, support humanity, animal rights, environment, and improve themselves as better humans. Now let's get to the point. My journey of being an atheist actually starts from my childhood. Luckily, I had a moderate Muslim family who were interested in many extracurricular activities like singing, dancing, art, and etc. And my parents used to buy me a lot of books and encourage me to read at a young age. But I went to a school where they heavily promoted Islam. Also, I had a private Islamic tutor who taught me how to recite Quran in Arabic and how to pray Salah. Because of that, I was always told by them that music is haram, drawing figures is haram, dancing is haram. You get my point. I always thought these activities are beautiful and you can bring so much creativity from a person. And no one thinks about imitating God's work by drawing a human. Additionally, all the people except Muslims will go to hell even though they are good people. Because of these contradictions, I never liked my religion from my childhood. Back to my ninth grade, I had my first doubt in Islam. I studied about the evolution of language in a book that my mother bought me, where I learned early humans didn't know how to speak. They used gestures, signals, and eventually developed short speech and then a complete language. So if early humans were not able to speak, then no way Adam can be the first human. Because of that, what I learned from theology is that Adam was able to communicate with Allah using a language and was very smart, which was not possible by the evolution of language theory. And if Adam used to speak in one language, then all the human beings are supposed to speak in that particular language. We won't have so many different languages. Today, you can find enough information on the internet about the origin of language, how speech organs develop in human body, how humans used to communicate before the origin of verbal language, etc. I spoke to my friends about this and they told me not to doubt Allah because Allah comes first and science is secondary. But I was not that dumb to understand that science is fact-based study, not some made-up fairy tale. Later, I asked one of my school teachers, and luckily he was an agnostic atheist too. That's what I assumed because he said there are many things in science that don't match with religion. In my teenage, when I was about to pass from 12th grade, one of my friends introduced me to the book of Abhijit Roy, Abhisheshar Darshan, which literally means the philosophy of disbelief. His book was amazing and cleared so many of my doubts and moral dilemma regarding Islam. Like I mentioned before, suppressing my creativity always based on time, praying when praying doesn't help most of the time. Sharia laws such as amputation for theft, stoning to death for premarital sex and adultery, 4 eyewitnesses for rape victim, woman's half inheritance, woman's half testimony, child marriage, and of course the death penalty of the apostates. I will talk about my doubts and moral dilemma about the Sharia laws that I hated. First, amputation of theft. Why would a system chop off someone's hand for stealing? What if that person is very poor and had nothing to eat for 4 days? What if the person is kleptomaniac who has a mental disease of stealing? What if the person was forced to steal by someone? This law doesn't justify any of that. Second, stoning to death for premarital sex and adultery. By the time, many of you may have encountered some stoning to death in Islam videos on the internet. How did it feel to you, especially the people who are living in the West and have the social acceptance for having premarital sex? Humans used to have sex even before marriage existed. I will make a detailed video later on this topic. When you support Muslims blindly, Do you know that this is a crime in Islam and you will end up dying by stoning? I will admit adultery is a crime. I despise people who commit adultery, especially when they have options not being in a relationship. But you have to admit, sometimes there are gray lines, even when it comes to adultery, and the punishment should never be stoning to death. Third, four eyewitnesses for rape victim. This is one of the reasons why Muslim woman doesn't report for rape. It's not a dumb thing to understand that rapists won't rape a woman keeping four eyewitnesses in front of them. Fourth, women's half inheritance. I want to ask moderate Muslim, how do you find this feminist as you claim Islam is the most feminist religion? I also watched some videos of some dumb woman that you can inherit from your husband through the bride price and so that you don't need much from your parents' money. I say it's what if I never get married? And aren't parents supposed to treat all their children the same way? Aren't women capable of earning? Women were capable of earning even in Muhammad's time. Fifth, child marriage. As you know from one of the prominent and true hadith book, Sahih Bukhari, that Muhammad married Aisha at the age of 6 and consumed his marriage at the age of 9, which is very problematic because this practice is still prevalent in many Muslim countries, including my own country. Some days ago, a 14 years old girl died in Bangladesh because of early marriage. Besides, if you have interest and want to make sure whether child marriage is bad or not, you can go through these scientific researches and make sure how child marriage is harmful to female body and when they should be allowed to consent to sex. I myself learned about human reproduction at the age of 12. Before that, I had no knowledge about sex and harm in early marriage. There is no way a girl can consent or should be allowed to have sex at that age, even if they menstruate. Remember that menstruating doesn't mean being sexually mature. Sixth, death penalty for apostasy. Islam is like Hotel California. You can check in anytime you like, but you can never leave. Just because you don't believe in something and give reasoning to people why you don't want to believe is a big crime in Islam. The penalty is death for this. This is one of the most unjustified cult-like laws in human history. What or which religion you want to believe and follow should be your freedom. Just because you don't believe in a certain God and religion doesn't mean you're going to kill people freely, do unjustifiable things to other people, or simply harm other people. It's a basic human right to choose your religion or no religion. I don't want to talk more in this video. I just want to say I was somewhat lucky being born in my country because Bangladesh was born as a secular country. Many Sharia laws like amputation for theft, stoning to death for premarital sex and adultery is not practiced here. Also, honor killing is not a cultural or religious practice here. Although there are few cases, but they are not celebrated like other Muslim countries such as Pakistan and Iran. I hope you like my video, give it a thumbs up, and share if you are in a country or a group where it is safer to share. However, I won't reveal my identity initially. If I ever get to live in a country where I feel safe, I probably will. Have a good day. Yours truly, the Atheist of Bengal.